The forest was quiet, but not peaceful. Strange lights moved between the tall purple trees. The wind made soft, whistling sounds, like whispers in the dark. Eli adjusted the broken panel on his rover. He had crashed here 2 hours ago. The navigation system failed, and now he was stuck on this unknown alien planet. His hands were dirty, and sweat ran down his face. "Come on," he muttered, hitting the control panel. Nothing happened. The rover was still dead. Then he heard it, a soft sound. Like a cry. He froze. At first, he thought it was just wind again. But the sound came again, high-pitched and weak. Like someone or something was hurt. Eli stood up slowly and looked around. He grabbed his flashlight and walked carefully into the trees. The light showed the strange plants glowing under his feet. The air smelled like sweet smoke. Again, he heard the cry. This time it was louder. He followed the sound. Behind a thick bush, he saw movement. Something was there, small and shaking. Eli bent down and moved the leaves. His eyes widened. A small creature lay there, breathing heavily. It had shiny purple fur, big glowing eyes, and a long tail. One of its legs was bleeding. Its skin was torn, and it looked very weak. Eli didn't move. The creature looked at him and tried to growl, but it was too tired. It let out a soft noise and turned its head away. "I won't hurt you," Eli said in a calm voice. He reached into his bag and pulled out a clean cloth and some water. The creature didn't run. It watched him with half-closed eyes. Eli gently cleaned the wound and tied the cloth around its leg. He worked slowly, speaking softly. "You're okay now, I got you." After a few minutes, the bleeding stopped. The creature licked his hand. Eli smiled. "You're smarter than you look." Suddenly, a loud beep came from his wrist device. He looked down. Motion detected. Something was coming. Fast. He turned off the light and pulled the creature into his arms. Voices. Not human. Alien. Eli moved behind a tree and stayed low. He could see shadows, 3 tall figures in armor, walking slowly, scanning the ground with blue lights. One of them spoke in a sharp, mechanical voice. "We are close. Scan for the scent again." Another voice replied. "The princess is losing control. If we don't find her pet, she might break the treaty." Eli's heart started to race. Her pet? He looked down at the creature in his arms. It was staring back at him, as if it understood everything. The soldiers stopped near the bush where the creature had been. One of them bent down and picked up the bloody leaf. It was here. Someone helped it. Eli held his breath. The lead soldier growled. "If a human has touched it, he must be eliminated." Eli gripped the creature tightly and closed his eyes. He didn't even know what was going on, but now he was part of it. The soldiers moved on, disappearing into the woods. After a long moment, Eli stood up quietly and walked back to his rover with the creature still in his arms. He placed it gently on a soft blanket. The creature curled up, still weak but calm. Eli sat next to it, staring at the stars above. "I just fixed a creature that belongs to an alien princess," he whispered. "And now I'm probably on someone's kill list." The creature made a soft purring sound. Eli chuckled softly. "What should I call you?" The creature blinked. "How about Sparky?" It didn't say no. Far above the planet, in a giant royal ship, the princess sat alone in her room. Tears ran down her cheeks. She stared at a hologram of the same creature, her pet laughing and playing with her. A guard knocked on the door. "We are still searching, Princess." She didn't turn. "Please find him. Please find Spark." Back on the planet, Eli didn't know what would come next. But he knew one thing. This creature needed him, and maybe he needed it too. The rain started softly. It wasn't like Earth's rain. The drops here were slow and glowing, like falling stars. They touched the leaves and made soft music as they fell. Eli sat under a large tree, holding a metal sheet above his head. Beside him, the creature now named Sparky was curled in a blanket, sleeping peacefully. But it wasn't just sleep. Sparky was glowing, not brightly, but enough for Eli to notice. Small lights moved under its fur, like tiny fireflies trapped inside its body. Eli stared, amazed. "What are you?" he whispered. Sparky opened one eye slowly and made a soft noise, almost like a whisper. Suddenly, the blanket moved. Eli jumped. Sparky wasn't alone. Something round rolled out of the blanket. It looked like a crystal ball. But then, it began to float. Eli backed up. The floating orb projected a light into the air. A hologram appeared, a moving image. It showed a young alien girl with silver hair and royal clothes. She was laughing and playing with Sparky. It was the princess. Sparky made a sad, low sound. Eli understood. "You miss her," he said. The image changed. Now it showed a giant alien palace, then a group of soldiers, then something darker, a lab, machines. Sparky growled and shut off the image. Eli was silent for a moment. "They want to use you, don't they?" Sparky didn't answer, but its eyes looked straight at him. There was intelligence there, not like a pet, not like an animal. Sparky was more. Eli stood up and walked in circles, thinking, "You're not just a pet. You're special. Maybe even dangerous to the wrong people." He remembered what the alien soldier had said. If a human has touched it, he must be eliminated. Eli knew now this wasn't just a missing pet case. This was something bigger. He checked his wrist device. A signal. Weak, but clear. Something was scanning again, searching. He had to move. He packed quickly and lifted Sparky, who now seemed more alert. "We have to go." They walked deeper into the forest where the plants grew taller and the light was dim. Sparky made a low then suddenly jumped from Eli's arms and ran ahead. "Hey, wait!" Eli followed, confused. Sparky stopped near a large stone. It touched the stone with its paw, and the stone moved. A hidden door opened. Eli stared in shock. "You've got secret doors too?" They entered. Inside, the walls glowed with soft light. It was a small cave, but warm and safe. Sparky sat near the center and looked at Eli. A small panel lit up on the wall. Then a voice, robotic but kind. "This shelter belongs to the royal creature. Authorized companion detected." Eli blinked. "I'm authorized?" The voice continued. "Health scan complete. Injury healing, 64%. Sparky was healing fast. Eli sat down, trying to understand everything. "You're a royal creature. You have shelters, tech, holograms, healing systems. You're like a living spaceship." Sparky tilted its head, amused. Outside, something flew past the trees. A drone, small, black, silent. It scanned the area, paused, then flew away. Eli saw it through the crack in the rock. "We're not safe," he said. "They're getting closer." He turned to Sparky. "I need to know more. Why are they after you?" Sparky looked down, then stood up and touched the wall. Another hologram appeared. This time, it showed a secret lab. Eli saw strange machines, dark tubes, and scientists. Sparky was inside a cage. Then, the princess appeared, crying and screaming at the guards. She opened the cage, took Sparky, and ran. Eli understood. "She saved you," he whispered, "from her own people." Then the image changed again. The king, tall and angry, spoke in a strange alien language. A translator voice said, "If that creature escapes the planet, it could ruin everything. Find it. Destroy anyone who helps it." Eli felt cold. He looked at Sparky. "You're not just important to her. You're dangerous to someone powerful." Sparky nodded. Slowly. Eli stood up. "Then I can't let them find you. Not until I know the truth." Outside, the rain stopped. The glowing clouds moved aside, revealing 2 moons in the sky. Eli looked at them and made a decision. "We're going to find your princess," he said. "But we're going to do it my way." Sparky jumped into his arms. They didn't know what waited ahead, but one thing was clear. This was no longer about a creature. This was about a secret that could change the galaxy. The sky turned red. Not like a sunset, but like a warning. Giant red clouds moved fast across the alien sky. A loud hum came from above, low and deep, like a monster breathing. Birds scattered. Trees shook. Something was coming. Eli stood at the edge of a cliff, holding Sparky in his arms. Below, the alien jungle stretched for miles. Rivers of silver. Water cut through glowing plants. But none of that mattered now. He looked up. A black ship hovered in the distance. Sharp, silent, shaped like a blade. Sparky growled. "I know," Eli said. "They found us." Suddenly, a voice came from his wrist device. "Unknown human, you are harboring royal property. Surrender the creature now." Eli laughed bitterly. Royal property? He's not a thing. He grabbed his pack, tightened the straps, and ran into the trees behind him, a sound like thunder. Soldiers dropped from the ship, 3, 4, 5, landing with force. Their armor glowed red. Their weapons hummed with energy. The chase began. Eli jumped over roots, ducked under branches, and sprinted through thick vines. Sparky clung to his shoulder, eyes glowing, tail wrapped tight around his neck. One wrong move, and it was over. Blast hit a tree beside him. Bark exploded. Eli rolled behind a rock, breathing hard. Sparky tapped his arm twice, its way of saying, "Move now." They ran again, deeper into the forest. Up ahead, Eli spotted a cave. He slid inside just as another blast hit the ground behind him. Rocks fell, blocking the entrance. Dust, darkness, silence. For a moment, they were safe. Eli sat down, chest rising and falling quickly. "Okay, new plan," he said. "Hide, then think." Sparky jumped from his shoulder and walked into the shadows. Then, something strange happened. The walls began to glow. Not lights, but carvings, symbols, drawings of creatures like Sparky, hundreds of them, all glowing faintly. Eli stood up, amazed. This place, it's old. Sparky placed a paw on one of the symbols. A soft click, and a hidden door opened. Another secret room. Eli followed. Inside was a small chamber filled with floating orbs, recordings, maybe memories. He touched one. It showed a battlefield. Sparky's kind being hunted, captured, controlled. Another orb showed Sparky's species healing planets, fixing broken lands, spreading light. They were protectors, Eli whispered. And now, they're being turned into weapons. Sparky looked at him with sad eyes. That's when Eli made his choice. "I'm not just helping you get home anymore," he said. "I'm protecting you from them." But outside, the soldiers were not giving up. They had circled the mountain. One of them held a scanner. It beeped faster and faster. "They're inside," the soldier said. "Surround the cave. Prepare stun beams. The king wants him alive for now." Inside the chamber, Sparky tapped Eli's arm again. It showed a new path, a narrow tunnel leading to the cliffs on the other side. "All right," Eli said. "Let's escape again." They ran through the tunnel, dust falling from the ceiling as explosions shook the ground behind them. The royal guards were blasting through the cave wall. At the end of the tunnel, Eli kicked open a small exit. Wind hit his face. They were on a cliff above the trees. Sparky pointed to a distant light. A small city. Ships flying in and out. "That's where she is?" Eli asked. Sparky nodded. Below them, a river. "No time for roads," Eli said. He grabbed a vine, held Sparky close, and jumped. They swung through the air, then fell into the cold river below. Splash. They disappeared under the water. The guards reached the cliff moments later, too late. One soldier cursed. "The human is smarter than expected." Another said, "We'll find him. He cannot run forever." Downstream, Eli dragged himself out of the water, soaked but alive. Sparky shook off water like a cat and sneezed. They both looked at each other and laughed, but it was short. Eli looked up at the city lights far away. That's where we're going, he said. To find the princess, to end this. And as they walked toward the unknown, the forest watched in silence. Somewhere in the stars, a war was waiting to begin. The palace was silent, not the silence of peace, but the silence of sadness. Princess. Ayara sat alone in a room made of glass. Stars floated outside her window like fireflies in space. She didn't look at them. Her eyes were red. Her hands shook. She held a small necklace in her palm. Inside it was a photo of her and Sparky, sitting under a blue tree, both smiling. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "Where are you, Spark? Please come back." Behind her the door slid. Opened. An old guard stepped in. "Princess, we received a signal. A message, not from us, from the surface." Ayara stood up quickly. "Play it." The lights dimmed. A hologram appeared. A human face. Eli. He looked tired, wet, dirty, but alive, and beside him, curled in his lap, Sparky. Ayara gasped. The message played. "I don't know if you'll hear this, but if you're the one looking for this little guy, he's alive, safe. He saved me more times than I can count. But someone's after him, your people. They're trying to capture him, or worse. If you really care about him, tell me where to go, or come get him yourself. No tricks, I'm not the enemy. Eli, Earthborn mechanic." The message ended. Ayara wiped her eyes. The guard looked at her. "Orders, princess?" She nodded. "Send him a location, quietly. Don't let my father know." Far away, back on the alien planet, Eli and Sparky hid inside an old cargo ship. It was broken, stuck in the dirt, and covered in moss. But it worked as a hideout. Eli sat near a half-working console. He had connected Sparky's crystal to the system, and now they waited. The screen blinked. Message receipt. Javeline leaned forward. "Go to the waterfall at Sector 9, midnight. Come alone. I'll be waiting." He smiled. She answered. Sparky jumped happily and spun in a circle. But then noise, outside. Footsteps. Eli turned off the screen, grabbed his pack and held his breath. A shadow moved past the cracked window. They weren't alone, Eli whispered. "Out the back, now." He and Sparky crawled through a hole in the cargo bay. They slid down a dirt hill and ran into the glowing forest again. Behind them, the old ship exploded. A trap. Sparky stopped running. He raised his paw and blinked twice. A small hologram map appeared. A blinking dot showed their destination, Sector 9, far across the jungle. "All right, Spark," Eli said, breathing fast. "Let's go meet your princess." Hours passed. Eli and Sparky traveled quietly, avoiding patrols and drones. They crossed a crystal bridge, walked through a foggy swamp, and climbed a tree path glowing with blue moss. Finally, they reached the edge of a cliff. Below them, a giant waterfall poured from the mountains. Moonlight hit the water, making it glow silver. The air was cool. The sound was loud, but peaceful. Sparky purred. Eli checked the time. 11:59. He looked around. No one. Then a light flickered on the rocks above. A royal ship appeared, quiet and smooth. It hovered silently, then landed. The door opened. Princess Ayara stepped out. She wore a simple cloak, not her usual royal dress. Her eyes locked on Sparky. She didn't speak. Sparky ran to her. Ayara fell to her knees and hugged him tightly. Tears rolled down her face. "I missed you so much," she whispered. Sparky licked her cheek. Eli stayed back, giving them space. After a moment, Ayara stood and looked at him. "You helped him," she said. "He saved me too," Eli replied. "More than once," she nodded. "My father, he doesn't know I'm here. If he finds out, you'll be hunted worse than before." Eli frowned. "Why are they after him?" Ayara looked down. Because they found a way to copy his energy. They want to use it in weapons. My father calls it the living power. But Sparky isn't a weapon. He's alive, kind, loyal. Eli sighed. I figured as much. She stepped closer. You could have sold him or left him. Why didn't you? Eli smiled faintly. Because I don't leave behind the ones who saved my life. Ayara looked at him. Surprised. Suddenly warning lights flashed on her bracelet. She turned pale. My father's ship is coming. They tracked me. Eli looked up. Of course they did. Ayara grabbed Sparky and looked at Eli. I have to go, but they'll kill you. Eli handed her a small device. This is all the maps, hiding spots, everything we used. Take it. It might help. She looked at him one last time. Thank you, Eli, truly. The ship lifted, and within seconds, it vanished into the sky. Eli stood alone by the waterfall, wind blowing through his hair. Above, he saw the second ship entering the sky, dark, sharp, and hunting. He turned away from the edge. They're not done chasing me yet, he said to himself. And then he ran into the night. The hunter becoming the hunted again. The lab was cold. Not from the air, but from the silence, inside. A hidden base deep underground. Strange machines hummed softly. Tubes filled with glowing green liquid lined the walls. Inside them were shadows half alive. Creatures, floating in sleep. Some looked like Sparky. Others didn't look alive at all. A tall man in black armor walked past the tanks. His face was hard. His eyes were cold. It was General Kale, the king's most trusted officer. He stopped at one of the tanks and placed his hand on the glass. The creature inside had purple fur, just like Sparky, but its eyes were closed. And it didn't move. Kale turned to a scientist. When will the weapon be ready? The scientist shook his head. Without the real one, without Sparky, the copies are unstable. We need the original. Its energy is different. Kale's lips curled into a smile. Then we keep hunting, he said. Far away, Aelin moved quietly through the night. He was tired, dirty, and wanted nothing more than a place to rest. But rest wasn't an option anymore. Not after what he had learned from the princess. He now knew the truth. Sparky wasn't just a pet. He was the last of his kind. A living key. A source of pure energy that could heal or destroy entire worlds. And someone powerful wanted to turn that light into a weapon. Eli stopped near an old tree and tapped a stone. 3 times. Click. A hidden door opened beneath the roots. He climbed down into the shadows. Inside, a group of rebels waited. Different alien species. Some had scales. Others had metal arms. All looked serious. All looked tired of running. A tall alien woman with glowing eyes stepped forward. You're Eli, she said. The human who stole the royal creature. Eli held up his hands. I didn't steal him. He found me. Sparky peeked from behind. His legs made a small chirp. The rebels smiled softly. Some even laughed. You're brave, the woman said. Or stupid. Maybe both. Eli smiled. A little of both, she nodded. I'm Lyra, leader of this cell. We've been hiding from the king's hunters for years. He looked around. Then you know what they're doing with Sparky's kind. Lyra's face turned dark. Yes. We used to fight with them, his kind. They were called the Lunari. They were not animals. They were light bearers. Guardians of life. But the king wanted power. He used lies. Took them one by one. She pointed to a dusty screen. It showed old footage, Sparky's kind healing forests, flying through space, touching dying stars and bringing them back to life. Then the screen flickered. New footage, dark labs, cages, machines forcing energy from the creatures. Torture. Control. I can't let them use him, Eli said. But I don't know what to do. Lyra stepped closer. There is one way, the Heartstone. Eli blinked. What's that? It's where the Lunari were born, she said. A place deep underground. Hidden, sacred. If Sparky returns there, he might awaken the others, or destroy the weapon copies. Eli looked down at Sparky. Is that true? Sparky nodded once. But there's a problem, Lyra added. The king knows about it too. He's already sending troops. They plan to reach the Heartstone before you do. If they place their machines there, everything will be lost. Eli sighed. Then we have to beat them, Lyra nodded. We have an old ship. Fast but small. We can get you there. Eli looked at Sparky. Ready to fly again, buddy? Sparky chirped twice. That night, the rebel ship flew silently above the forest. Its engines made no sound. Its lights stayed off. Inside, Eli sat by the window, staring at the stars. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't a soldier. He was just a mechanic who made a choice. And that choice had led him into a war. Lyra walked up and handed him a small metal cube. This will help you, she said. It holds the codes to the Heartstone gate. Don't lose. Eli took it. Thanks. Then she paused. One more thing. If you reach the Heartstone, and it gives you a choice power or freedom, choose freedom, even if it hurts. Eli nodded slowly. I'll do what's right. Back in the royal palace, the king stood before a map. A red dot moved toward the Heartstone. He slammed his fist on the table. Send every ship, every hunter. I want that creature dead before it touches the gate. Beside him, General Kale smiled. The human thinks he's a hero, Kale said. He'll learn the truth soon enough. Above the clouds, Eli's ship cut through the night, heading toward the ancient place where everything began. Below them, the army of the king was already moving. The final race had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The stars were on fire. Eli stood inside the rebel ship, staring out of the window. In the distance, two massive fleets were fighting above a red moon. Blue lasers, explosions, and broken ships floated in space like dying birds. But Eli wasn't watching the battle dot, he was watching the path behind them. Once we land, Lyra said, standing beside him, there's no turning back. Eli nodded. I'm not here to run. Sparky sat on the console beside them, eyes glowing brighter than ever. His fur sparkled like stardust. The closer they got to the Heartstone, the more alive he became, but so did the danger. Alarms beeped. Enemy ship behind us, the pilot said. Fast. Coming in hot. Eli turned to Lyra. Take Sparky. I'll slow them down. She grabbed his arm. If you go out there, you might not come back. He looked at Sparky. He's more important than me. Before she could answer, Eli was already moving. Outside, wind screamed across the sky. The rebel ship was landing in a narrow canyon, rock shaking below as engines roared. Behind them, a black royal fighter dropped from the clouds. Weapons glowing red. Eli ran across the side ramp, dragging a power core behind him. He connected it to an old cannon mount on the ship's wing. The cannon beeped, barely alive. Eli smiled. Good enough. The enemy ship fired. Eli ducked, then aimed and fired back. The cannon shook violently, sparks flying. One of the blasts hit the enemy ship's wing. It spun out of control and crashed into the rocks. Eli raised a fist. Yes. Then he heard a sound. Metal boots. Too late. Royal guards jumped from the smoke, surrounding him. Drop your weapon, one shouted. Eli raised his hands. Okay, no problem. They stepped forward. Then dash boom. The ship behind Eli exploded outward. From the blast, Sparky flew through the air like a comet, body covered in bright light. He hit the ground in front of Eli and roared, not a small roar. Roar that made the guards freeze in fear. Sparky's eyes turned. Gold. His body floated. He wasn't hiding anymore. He was becoming what he truly was, a guardian of energy. The guards stepped back. Panicked, Sparky raised a paw and the earth cracked beneath them. A blast of force pushed the soldiers away. Eli looked up, stunned. "Sparky, what are you?" Sparky floated back to the ground, his light calming. Then he turned toward a cliff wall. A mark began glowing on the stone, an ancient symbol. "Gate to the Heartstone." Lyra ran to them. He activated it. "The path is open." Without waiting, they stepped inside. The inside of the Heartstone wasn't made of stone or metal. It was light, living light. Walls shimmered like water. The floor moved gently like waves. Energy flowed through the space like veins. Sparky walked ahead, confident. Eli and Lyra followed in awe. In the center, a giant tree made of crystal stood. At its base were small stones, resting places of other Lunari. Sparky climbed the steps and sat at the top. His body pulsed. Then he looked at Eli one last time. Eli stepped forward. "What's happening?" Lyra whispered. "He's waking the others, calling the true guardians." Sparky closed his eyes. The crystal tree began to glow. Slowly, then brighter. Suddenly, lights rose from the stone spirits of the Lunari. One by one, they appeared, floating shapes of light and memory. A whole lost species. Returning. Eli stepped back in awe, but then a loud boom shook the temple. The king had arrived. Ships blasted through the canyon. Soldiers stormed the gate. General Kale walked into the Heartstone with a weapon aimed. "Step away from the creature," he shouted. "Now." Eli raised his hands. "You don't understand. He's not just light. He's life." Kale laughed. "Exactly. And we'll use that life to power our empire." He fired. The shot hit Eli's side. He dropped to the ground, bleeding. Sparky screamed, not just in pain but in pure rage. The spirits of the Lunari formed a shield around Eli. Then, together, they flew toward Kale like a storm. He tried to run. He couldn't. The lights hit him, and he disappeared in a flash of white. The other soldiers froze. Ayara suddenly appeared behind them, holding a royal symbol. "Stand down," she shouted. "You serve the crown, but I am the crown now." The soldiers dropped their weapons. The king's ship began to retreat. Inside the Heartstone, everything grew calm. Sparky floated down to Eli, touching his chest. With glowing light, Eli opened his eyes alive. "You came back," he whispered. Sparky purred. That night, the Heartstone pulsed with life again. The Lunari were awake. The war was ending, and Eli, just a mechanic, had helped save a galaxy. The galaxy felt quiet for the first time in years. No blaster fire, no ships falling from the sky, no royal orders echoing across space. Only silence and light. The Heartstone glowed like a rising sun beneath the surface of the planet. Its energy flowed freely again. The Lunari spirits, gentle and bright, floated peacefully around the crystal tree. Eli sat under its branches, holding a warm cloth to his side where he had been shot. His pain was real, but so was the peace. Sparky curled beside him, eyes closed, fur softly glowing. Lyra and Princess Ayara stood near the edge of the chamber, speaking quietly. The remaining soldiers had surrendered. The king's ship had turned back. General Kale was gone, but something still remained unfinished. Ayara walked over to Eli. "You should rest," she said softly. Eli looked at her. "Not yet." He pointed to the crystal tree. "Something's calling me." Ayara nodded. "The Heartstone recognizes you. It's offering you a choice." Eli frowned. "A choice?" She sat beside him. "There's one final command left in the Heartstone," she explained. "One last surge of energy. A gift. Or a cost." Eli listened closely. "You can use it to restart the Lunari completely. Bring their race back. Let Sparky's kind live again." He looked at Sparky. The little creature opened one eye. Ayara continued, "But there's a price. A human can't carry Lunari energy forever. The Heartstone needs someone to bind the spark. A life for a life." Eli went silent. "You're saying, if I choose to bring them back, you may not survive?" Ayara said. But you will give the galaxy a second chance. Lyra stepped forward. Or you can walk away. The war is over. Sparky is safe. You've already done more than anyone expected. Eli leaned his head back, eyes staring up at the glowing ceiling. He had never wanted to be a hero. He just helped a small, injured creature. But now, that creature had changed everything. He stood up slowly. I didn't come this far just to walk away. He looked at Sparky, smiled, and whispered, It's okay, buddy. You go home now. Sparky's eyes filled with light and tears. He tried to stop him, tried to pull his cloak with his tail. Ailey walked forward anyway. He stepped onto the glowing circle beneath the tree. The spirits of the Lunari surrounded him. Ayara shouted, Wait! Let me take your place. Ailey looked at her and shook his head. You're a princess. You have to rebuild. I'm just a mechanic. I fix broken things. He touched the HERTSTONE dot. It responded instantly. A wave of light exploded across the chamber, filling every crack and corner of the world. The sleeping stones around the room cracked open. New Lunari began to rise. Real, living, breathing guardians of light. Sparky stared in shock, then joy, as his kind returned, one by one. But the light around Ile grew brighter. Too bright. Ayara cried out, Ile! Then silence. The light vanished. The chamber dimmed. Sparky ran forward, sniffing the air. He let out a soft cry. Ayara fell to her knees. There was no sign of Eli. Only his tool belt, lying near the base of the tree. The Lunari picked it up with gentle paws and passed it to Sparky. He held it close to his chest. Weeks later, peace had returned. Across the planets, the king had stepped down, and Ayara now ruled as queen. She wore no crown, just a crystal pendant with Eli's name carved into it. The Lunari had spread across their old lands, healing the damage done by war. They were protectors again, and Sparky? He became the heart of the new council. Brave, strong, but never without Eli's belt, worn across his back like armor. He never forgot. None of them did. Far beyond the stars, on a quiet moon where no war had touched, a man walked alone through silver fields. His clothes were simple. His beard had grown, but his eyes still held light. Eli was alive, not completely human anymore. Not completely Lunari either, something in between. A spark that chose peace over power. He looked up at the sky and whispered, You're home now, buddy. Then he walked into the starlight, never needing to be found. Because heroes like him, they don't ask for statues, they just fix what's broken and move on.